Your What's going on, guys? It's your boy Lonzo or Zoe, whatever you guys want to call me. But we're here and we're outside, and I want to talk about a few things. So we recently got our blue belt, I think last week, and I kind of wanted to talk about expectations for a blue belt and kind of the things I would tell my white belt self before I started jujitsu. So if you guys are thinking about starting jujitsu, if you guys are white belts, this will be a good video just because I thought about I had different thought processes during different times. So let's talk about it. So I started jujitsu about a year ago. I've been hearing jujitsu from all these podcasts, hearing all these celebrities do it. I'm like, oh, what is this? Like, a lot of people talk about how it's changed their lives. It's helped them appreciate reality and, pushing through adversity. So I'm like, all right, let's check it out. So we checked it out, did our first trial class, and we were blown away. We were blown away, dude. I was like, what the hell? How did I not know about this sooner, bro? How? I had no martial arts experience, no wrestling, no judo, none of that. So our first jiu-jitsu experience was like very eye-opening. And if you guys remember your first day, it was like a whole new world just like freaking popped up. I was like, all right, man, let's get after it. So we started going to training, watching a bunch of videos on YouTube. You guys know, man. You guys go on YouTube, you type in a few jiu-jitsu videos, and your algorithm's just going to flood you with everything. It's going to throw the whole kitchen sink at your freaking IG feed, YouTube feed. And that's probably how you guys are watching this video, to be honest. But what I'm trying to get to is there is tons and tons of information out there online. And I was eating it all up. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna learn this, I'm gonna learn that. What's hot? What's the cool moves and stuff? So I would totally avoid all of that. Like, I would totally like go to class, listen to your professor. I caught myself in those cycles where I'm like, okay, I gotta learn this, that. He's doing this, gotta do that. And especially as a white belt, I was just like lost. There was no direction in the information. There's no technique breakdown. I wasn't practicing the moves in training, so a lot of it was just going one ear out the other. So that would be like the first thing I would say to myself, is to relax. You don't have to learn everything in one day. Trust me, there is plenty and plenty of information and curriculum to go through. There could be books on books on books with jiu-jitsu and techniques and how to apply them. And that would be my first thing. The second thing is just show up to class. Go consistently. That was something that I'm like, okay, I go to the gym. I could go to jiu-jitsu. Like, I just made it a habit. If it hit this time, start driving to jiu-jitsu. Just made it part of the routine. As soon as we walked in, we're locked in, dude. We're present. It felt really weird being present in a class, because that was not the case when I was in school, bro. Like, maybe towards the end of college, like, I was like way more present. I was really understanding the stuff. But in high school, middle school, elementary, bro, I would just be sitting down. I'm like, I'm in outer space, bro. I'm thinking about everything else but where I'm at. And it completely changed with jiu-jitsu. Like, once we're on the mat, bowed, start doing warm-ups and all that stuff, started learning the training. I really had to pay attention. So I learned how to pay attention with jiu-jitsu, which was pretty cool. Just because if you didn't pay attention, you're getting choked out, which is a good incentive to pay attention, honestly. So it's a cool thing. And I had to teach myself how to pay attention, how to sit still, how to not move around. I know, just like being like a big kid, bro. Just like, relax, be present, ask questions, don't be afraid to ask questions, all that stuff like that. And that was really mostly the main things I would do. Just show up to class consistently. Don't get overwhelmed with all the YouTube techniques, all the IG reels, technique breakdowns, all that stuff. All that stuff is cool. Like, I still learn a bunch from just even watching some UFC fights or film. But, the stuff that you're drilling in class is it's gonna be the stuff that you're gonna be using in competition, or whenever you're gonna have to use it. Like, those are the things that are gonna be ingrained in your technique or system. So it's good just to train in class. Another thing that I would say to my white belt self is to not kind of alongside with the technique, but don't push yourself too much physically if you're not used to it. So as soon as the first few months, I started going like four times a week, and then I pushed it up to 6, and I was like 7. I would go train twice, train twice in one day, next day train once, and then twice again, and that was the cycle. So 2 sessions a day, and 1 session, and 2 sessions, and 1 session, and 2 sessions. My body was not used to any of that. Your boy was just sitting down playing FIFA on YouTube, scrolling, and completely doing a 180 and just training, going crazy, trying to hang in, sparring, do all that stuff. It wasn't going to be consistent, to say the least. It wasn't going to be something I was going to be able to do for a long time, because I would feel it in my body. I would have these small injuries. I'd hurt myself here, hurt myself there, my finger there. And I think it's definitely something you work up to, instead of the other way around, where you start right off the rip, training every day, training like your friend Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like, bro, you got to relax and kind of digesting the information. There's no point in walking a math class and just see your teacher, your professor work out all these problems, show you how to do them, and then you don't write anything down in your notebook and you just go home. It's like, you're not going to retain any information like that. So if you work on a technique, professor shows you, you ask questions, you take some notes, you go home, you practice it for the next time. Like, those are the good habits that, instilling into yourself to build a good foundation. And then, go on YouTube, start learning, just like being curious and open-minded is like, it was very beneficial for me to be able to embrace new ideas, thoughts, beliefs, just because I was so curious on it. Like, I remember hearing Mikey Musumeci talking about being a white belt is really just about building a good foundation. It's like, you don't build a house on a crappy foundation. You want to have a solid foundation, so when the storm hits, it's going to stay there. It's not moving anywhere. You got all the pieces to the puzzle right there. It's not fancy or anything, but it's just literally brick by brick. So understanding the positions, listening to your professors, asking questions, all that stuff is going to pay off in the long run if you do it well. So just main 3 points: relax, don't get ahead of yourself, build a solid foundation. With blue belt, bro, I have no idea, bro. We literally just got our blue belt. It's going to be a whole different thing, just because, blue belt, I feel like, is one of the harder belts, based on what I've seen. It's like, you start expanding on your technique. You start trying new things out. You don't know what works. You're going to try out stuff in competition. It's not going to work and you're going to lose. But I feel like that's, part of improving. That's part of getting good at something, is dealing with adversity, taking notes, having lessons from that. Like, my first jiu-jitsu competition, it didn't go well. Like, I lost, made tons of mistakes. Looking back at it, I was like, damn, that felt crazy. Like, dealing with the whole experience, I was like blown away. I'm like, bro, what is this? No one told me about this, bro. And I'm like, okay. So taking it back to training, pushing yourself, all that stuff. It all comes back together. You kind of have to regroup and, get your mind right. But it definitely takes time. And blue belt's going to be a whole different thing. That's why I'm documenting the whole process, sharing it with you guys. And, I learned a lot from you guys, from just like going on YouTube, learning from other people's experiences. So really my intention with this is, anybody watching out there who's thinking about starting, or who's a white belt currently, is like, bro, just show up to class, have fun, do your thing. There's no added pressure. Like, you're not trying to, I don't know. I feel like myself, I would add all this pressure. I'm like, man, I'm spending time on this. I'm doing this. I'm driving all the way over here. I should be doing this. I should be doing this. And then, with training, with more time on the mat, you start realizing, like, it's going to take some time. If you want to get good at anything, it's going to take some time. Even making these YouTube videos, it takes time. I have to edit them, talk to the camera, all that stuff. But it's something I really want to do. It's something I want to improve on. And I really find it beneficial, not only for me, but, I feel like if I provide any sort of value that I could, bring to the table, I would want to do that, especially for you guys, just because it could be intimidating. A lot of people get nervous. They don't know who's at the gym. They don't know who's running the gym. They don't know if they could do it physically, or push themselves in that way. And I had no idea that I was capable of showing up consistently to exercise, because I used to struggle with my weight, bro, like pretty bad. especially in high school. Boy was overweight. He played basketball, but he didn't do well just because he was so overweight. And kind of like, putting what could I say? In Spanish, is ponte las pilas. You ponte las pilas. You kind of put the batteries in, and you kind of just like, all right, you gotta lock in. I know that word's getting overused now, but you really gotta lock in if you really want to get good at something, or if you want to be able to improve. There's gonna be times where it's like, damn, bro, this sucks. Like, I remember just like the feelings after the first match. I'm like, bro, this sucks, dude. This is way harder than I thought it was gonna be, and kind of accepting that and embracing it. It's like, okay, it's hard. That's good. Just because when things are hard, that means there's something to work towards, And that's the way I kind of see it with challenges or adversity. It's like, okay, if it's hard for a reason, and that's why people still want to do it, even though it's hard. So I'm like, all right. You start learning about yourself, start learning how you think, and then it's a whole thing, dude. And it's not like you're gonna solve it in one day. It's not like you're gonna have. Sometimes you do have aha moments where you're like, man, I could have just done this instead of that, and it could have. But there's so many things that go into it, and that would be kind of the main things I would talk about. Just like relaxing, don't put too much on your plate, show up. Relax, don't put too much on your plate, show up. And as long as you do that, bro, you should be chilling. You go to class, you train, take some notes for next time, and then you'll work through plateaus, you work through hard times, and sometimes life gets in the way. So that's why I wanted to share my personal blue belt experience, because there could be somebody else, have a completely different story. They could have a completely different story, have their own experiences about it. That's why I just wanted to share mine. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and let me know if you guys enjoy stuff like this, where I just talk about kind of what I've experienced. Like I said, if you guys want to learn technique or actually have, advice for someone, listen to someone who's been doing it for a long time, who's established, black belt, all that stuff. I'm just sharing it just because, I wish I had like someone who's just like doing it along with me. So I mean, like, this is pretty much just how I feel about it. And, maybe looking in the future, I might have different thoughts on being a blue belt or being a white belt. And it's kind of like growing up, being an adult, learning things, relearning things. It's a whole process. So that's what we're doing. We're enjoying it. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. We out of here. Peace.